paperboys and evening TV. Everywhere you look, there's a heart.
Welcome back, YouTubers. I am Jason Worstman. That is my buddy Hampton the Bear, and this is another sexy deluxe episode of Tankers Fantasy Football, where we will be breaking down some buy low, sell high candidates in Week 12 for you to get it sexy moving forward into your fantasy football playoffs to bring home you some fantasy football titles out there. I can't wait to help you guys bring home some of them fantasy football titles. We're going to lead off with a quarterback, lead off some Cam Newton. And I know he had a good week last week, but that Pittsburgh game, the sour taste of that Pittsburgh game probably is still in some of his owners' mouths out there. He has the Seahawks this week, but after that, week 13 through 16 is going to be sexy deluxe. We're talking about Buccaneers, Browns, Saints, and Falcons weeks 13 through 16. It's not going to get any more sexy than that as far as quarterback matchups go in your fantasy football playoffs. All right, get right into some running backs. Go Sony Michel, coming back off that knee injury, had the clunker, had the shit wagon out there versus the Titans. People are a little freaking out about Rex Burkhead coming back as well, but I mean, I think this is your chance to get a back in RB1 at a very, very low price. I mean, if you look at it, he's got the Bills still on the docket and the Dolphins. So, I mean, those are games. It's going to be game script heavy for him. He's going to be running the football in the second half of those football games. He also has the Steelers left on the docket. And, you know, it says the Steelers have been pretty stiff against the run thus far. But if you look at it, they've given up 357 yards and 4 touchdowns to running backs in the last 2 games. So, I think that is another all-in matchup for Sony Michel. So, he's got 3+ matchups on the docket left for your fantasy playoffs. I think you can get in there and get Sony Michel on pennies on the dollar right now, coming off that knee injury and having that clunker against the Titans and moving into the bye week. All right, another guy I think you can get on pretty cheap. Talking about some Marlon Mack. Hasn't really lit the world on fire these last couple of weeks, so it's, you know, possible that you can probably buy pretty cheap on him out there. He played he plays in a top 5 offense. You know, he's kind of the goal line back. He's been scoring the touchdowns. And I think he's going to be a high-end RB2 the rest of the way. He's got 2 of his toughest games these last couple of weeks as far as run versus the rush goes. But moving forward, he is looking to get into some very plus matchups. So I think you can go out there and get Marlon Mack on the cheap. Some wide receivers I think you should be buying. Marty Cooper. I know he was on everybody's start list and the DraftKings. Everybody's start of the week went out there and just shit the bed for you. So people are probably willing to sell at this point, and his remaining schedule is just absolutely sexy deluxe. Talking about the Redskins on Thanksgiving, they're giving up the 3rd most yards to receivers thus far. Then he's got the Saints, who are giving up the most yards and the 2nd most touchdowns. Moves on to the Philadelphia Eagles defense, who have just been garbage lately, giving up the 4th most yards. Then he's got the Colts, and then to close it off in the fantasy title game, he's got the Buccaneers, who are giving up the 2nd most touchdowns to opposing wide receivers. So I think if, you know, like Amari Cooper owner is probably down in the dumps after that clunker, again, a plus matchup versus the Falcons, so you can swoop in there and get him probably on the pretty cheap. All right, another guy I think you should buy low on, getting all in, and Josh Gordon. You know, he's seen 43 targets over his last 5 games, and I think Gronk coming back will benefit Gordon more from people be like, well, Gronk's coming back, he's not going to be getting as many targets. Well, he might not be getting as many targets, but he's probably going to see a lot easier matchups, a lot easier coverage moving forward. And I think, you know, this is just the time coming off the bye. It's been a few weeks since he loved them sexy back in week 9. So I think you can go out there and get some Josh Gordon. Another guy you might even be able to get off the waiver wires. I mean, went out there, he was a lot of people's start of the week, went out there in week 11 and just shit all over everybody's chest. Talking about Marquez, Valdez, Scantling, but we're talking about Randall Cobb still dinged up. Jimmy Graham's talking about playing through that thumb injury, but I don't think he's going to really be a factor in the passing game if he's looking to play through a broken thumb. You know, you get no real true passing, pass down running backs, but I know Aaron Jones did get it sexy out there via the pass of the other week, and I think he will continue to catch some balls, but he's not like we're not talking about like a Alvin Kamara or a James White out there vacuuming up targets. I know Devontae Adams is probably going to be the motherload of these targets, but I mean, you can probably get this guy for pennies on the dollar. I'm not saying go run him out there, pick him, trade him for him this week and start him, but I think he's a solid hold and wait and see if you can get your hands on him. All right, we're going to move right into some sells. I think we got to sell at quarterback. I think Tom Brady, I mean, you know, you can't sell Tom Brady, but, you know, if I take away the name Tom Brady and then I give you these numbers, you're going to be like, well, why the fuck hadn't I moved on from Brady weeks ago? I mean, coming into week 10, he was the number 16 quarterbacks. He was the number 16 quarterbacks in points per game. So that is not very Tom Brady-like. And you're talking about, you know, it's not just one bad game that's really holding him back. You know, there have been 75 quarterback performances that have scored 22 plus fantasy points this year. 75 quarterbacks have had 22 or more, or not 75 different quarterbacks, but there have been 75 times quarterbacks have scored 22 or more fantasy points this year, and Tom Brady only has fucking one of them. So, I mean, that is just absolutely gross. If you can sell them based upon that name value to get yourself into that Cam Newton or into that, even get yourself some, like, I think even like a Russell Wilson would be a good trade right now for even a Tom Brady. I mean, I don't know. You just look at this, and I know Tom Brady is the type of player that can turn it on or turn it around at any given moment, but my goodness, if you can package a guy with Tom Brady, absolutely upgrade at quarterback, I would probably look to do that. Running back, I'd be willing to sell. Talking about Adrian Peterson. I mean, he has 3 starting linemen out, but so are his top, you know, now he's got the top 2 wide receivers out, and he's got the quarterback looking to be out as well for the rest of the season in Alex Smith with that gruesome fucking leg injury that we saw over and over again on fucking the Red Zone channel. I wouldn't stop shoving it in my face. You know, the offense is probably going to be struggling to put up points out there. I know, you know, he has a decent bet at scoring a touchdown, but we were looking at it last week. He had the 2 touchdowns, but he only had 17 PPR points with 2 touchdowns. That is not very sexy deluxe. That is touchdown dependent. That is the definition of touchdown dependent. And he's got the Cowboys this week, who have been pretty tough out there. I think if you have anybody else, I think I would be looking to sell Adrian Peterson, because his remaining schedule, I mean, is pretty tough. He's got, you know, he's got the Cowboys, and he's got the Eagles, the Jaguars, and the Titans, and you know, those are, you know, 4 of the last 5 games, and they're all top 12 defenses against the run. So I think this is an all-in sell high coming off those 2 touchdowns for a guy like Adrian Peterson. I think AJ Green is also a sell. People are probably all right with it. You know, he's scheduled to probably come back this week after testing his foot on the field last week. So, you know, if people are on the bye, if people think he's actually going to come back and be AJ Green again, I would be looking to sell him if I were you. I mean, people, just the history of players coming back from foot injuries is not very good. They do not perform at the highest of levels when trying to play through a foot injury. Another sell here. We got some T.Y. Hilton. I was, you know, you think I'm talking crazy, just went up there, blew it fucking up, won you fucking money in daily fantasy, or won you your week in your season-long leagues. But you know, he had 8 receptions in the 3 games prior to this game, in which he had 9. And if you're looking at his upcoming schedules, week 13 through 16, he has the Jacksonville Jaguars, give him the fewest yards and touchdowns to opposing wide receivers. He has the Texans, who are giving him the 10th fewest yards and the 7th fewest touchdowns to opposing wide receivers. Then he's got Dallas giving him the 5th fewest yards and the 2nd fewest touchdowns, and the Giants are giving him the 2nd fewest touchdowns to finish her off. So that is a very tough sled moving forward. If you can just cash in on that TY last week, sell him as a wide receiver 1, I think I would look to do that. Like the cut of my jib, give me a share, give me a comment, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell right next to it to get all your sexy deluxe Tankers fantasy football notifications, people. I do appreciate the comments. Any questions below, I will answer them in an orderly fashion. Smash the piss out of that like button. Get the fucking comments pumping out there, guys. That helps my videos get into the recommended section of future Tankers fantasy football listeners. All right. I'll see you after we feast on the turkey and Thanksgiving with some Friday Stardom Sit 'em matchups. Cheeseburger.